of education. I came in right when like schools opened up again.
Mm.
So yeah, but I hear like horror stories, dude. Like the teachers that talk about their time on it's like a time of when
I've
you
seen, I remember during the pandemic, people like, there was one, it was like a YouTube short that I saw
Mhm.
that like some girl in the classroom was like legit, like having sex, like in, like, and it was showing
I did not expect you to go there.
something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was
I thought you were gonna talk about something you would
not,
tell.
well, I mean, there's like, where like people are like taking a dump or something like that, and like the audio is still on, you just hear like toilets flushing or whatever.
You're
But
talking about like horror stories during Zoom?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was talking more about how just people dreaded like hated their lives in that time because they of the work they had to do on Zoom as far as
Oh,
teachers.
like meetings, or what do you mean? Like,
No, I mean school was on Zoom, dude.
oh yeah, 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 for kids, yeah, yeah. And it's like, how do you like,
Yeah,
how do you enforce, how do you keep order, like when
you don't.
you just walk away, or like you don't know what's going off screen, like right off
You
to the right.
don't. You have no control over kids, man. As much
It's
control
like
as
they legit, so, they're probably like the TV's right there, and they're just, or the,
you can't make kids learn when they're in school. You think you're
let
gonna do it when they're at home in their fucking PJs? Hell
them.
no. So yeah, no, it was a crazy time. But yeah, welcome to Zoom. So let me just give you a little tour.
I'm
Um,
like a hiring manager right now, like I'm doing an interview.
tell me what are your qualifications for this position?
You're hiring, so you should hire me.
I'm looking for a job.
I'm looking for a job. Exactly. I need work.
All right, for sure, man. Well, how was your day? We'll just get that out of the way.
Chill,
Personal stuff. Chill.
chill.
You worked?
Yeah, I had to replace legs on this couch. So
Legs on a couch.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just
Okay.
like using the power drill. And so
Ah,
it's like
okay, got it.
it's like all the holes were threaded.
You had to get some new ones?
All the threads were stripped on the for the legs.
Ah, yeah.
It just came off. But it was part, it's like why I got a good deal on it. Cause like people don't even do basic things to
If it looks
like
like I'm
I would
not
rather
looking
just
at you, it's
throw it
because
away. Like, what's up?
I say if it looks like I'm not looking at you, it's just I'm trying to position the camera so I'm looking right at your face. Okay. Is that better? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, what were you saying?
Like people will throw away things like at the first sign of trouble,
You
and they'll just
sound like a homeless person.
one man, one man's garbage is another man's treasure.
Homeless people, you wouldn't believe what I found in the garbage today.
Yeah, gee, I mean, my storage unit doesn't even have couches anymore. It's just full of like, it's
Imagine
a couch in there now. No, I'm just
dead
kidding.
bodies.
Yeah.
Um, I
Um,
I think you could totally have like a
but
you
like
could
it allows me to like get good deals and stuff, because like they're like, yeah, the legs are, because like when they took pictures, like the legs were not even on the couch, like the couch is just on the floor,
yeah.
not no legs. So I was like, are they missing or what? Because if they're missing, I'm not interested. They're like, no, they're not missing. They just keep falling off because the holes are too like ate up. There's the threads are stripped. So I was like, I'll take it, as long as you have the legs. And then
Yeah.
literally, it's like, it's an easy job.
Hmm. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Um,
But
let's see. Did you eat already?
what's up?
Did you eat already? No, you
No,
know, I know you don't eat. Um,
I got some meal replacement right here.
some more, please. Dude, I'm quitting alcohol again.
Okay, cool. It's just been not more cons than pros, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
let's not get into any too personal details with it.
yeah,
Who knows if we record this, we can make like a movie documentary about our first film.
yeah. But we choose what we have final say of what gets put into that. We're not just gonna hand
Oh,
over.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
I want this film to I want this to be like an actual, release. Like I'm not making this is not like a pro like a just we can shoot a small version of it like on an iPhone. Fuck it, just to go through it, play with it. But
concept.
yeah, like I say we make this film
Why I'm taking the script, like the script is for
because
me
if
that's the main thing right now.
my
Like I
biggest thing is if
movie like
yeah, let's say we get connected somehow over the next few years, right? And we're able to finance this film ourselves or something, or we even just, whatever the case may be. Um, and when it comes to like, because if most likely we're gonna either be hired for, to do the job, or we're gonna have to pay for it ourselves. So we're gonna be responsible for a huge
mhm.
undertaking, management, people, resources.
Probable likelihood of, you know, because who's gonna pay for people who have no experience making films like to make a film, who's gonna back that up?
Yeah. So
Unless we know
that's why
like
we have to make the film.
yeah,
No
yeah.
one's gonna give it to us. So this could be
Well,
like our
shoot. Movies on iPhones, you just need a lens and a rig
oh, I
and
know. I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I want to shoot it, I want to make it ourselves, within reason. And before anything else, so that we just know how because I was just thinking the other day, I was watching a movie and the intro before the credits roll, the Universal Pictures lot logo or whatever the major studio backing it is. I saw I just thought of all the back lots and I was like, it's interesting, like all these directors, when they make a film, they're already thinking of like locations where they're gonna shoot, how they're gonna organize it, like what they're gonna do, because they know how to use all the tools that are at their disposal already.
well, it's not just the director doing that. It's him and his team around them. Like he already has people who,
Yeah.
you know, he has location scouts. He has like that's why the producers do a lot of that stuff too, or handle,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
um,
It's such a interconnected, like,
it's an overwhelming.
yeah. I was just thinking of that. And then, because I saw a movie last night.
It's uh-huh.
My bad.
No. Well, I was just gonna say it's analogous to like Inception.
How's
Like
that?
we are like the architect designing the dream world. When they had that conversation, she's like, "How can I possibly?" Because that's what we do. Like I'm already speaking like we've made films, but that's what filmmakers do. They build worlds and
I like
universes.
that.
You know what I
Bringing
mean?
it in. Yeah.
And and but part going actually to that scene in that movie, she's like, you start with the basic aspects of the dream, right, or the story of what we're doing, and then it becomes it creates itself almost like you're discovering it. That's what she says in the movie. And
Who says
I,
this?
I think Leo to
Juno?
what
Juno's character?
huh?
Juno's character?
Yeah. I forgot
Ellen
his
Page?
yeah. Well, that yeah. What's her name now or his name?
I'm not sure. I think
Yeah,
he's gonna be in the next Nolan film.
I heard that.
Yeah, right? Elliot. Elliot.
Um,
Elliot
with
looks good, man. Elliot's got some fucking abs, bro.
what's up?
Elliot's got some fucking abs on him.
Yeah.
That's what's up, dude. That's crazy. Like I haven't sat down and like analyzed that. Like I saw this chicken, Juno, sorry, not Uno.
Yeah.
She was so cool. And
Yeah.
now she's a dude.
Even before that, she got one of her first appearances ever was
Oh,
in Trailer Park Boys as a little girl.
that's such a trip.
That you never watched that show.
Wait, what was that?
One of her first appearances on anything ever was on Trailer Park Boys as a little girl.
You know what's even weirder is just the way she's posing. She just looks like a bro, like in some of these photos.
Well, yeah, she was on. I think one of the Esquire magazines that I was sent. She was like she was on the cover, or he was on the cover. Sorry.
Crazy. But yeah, I'm interested. I haven't seen him in a role since he
But
transitioned.
I think story our script is going to be like we're going to create like we're going to start creating and then we're going to start discovering as like things like
Yeah.
you know,
Yep. What time?
build and unfold.
What time did we start? Like four.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's a little bit of a lag.
Is there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm lagging or you're lagging, but there's a little bit of a lag. Talk?
Lag, lag, lag. I'm
Yeah.
waving my hand left, right, left. Your right,
Okay,
my
that's
left,
better. Okay.
whatever.
Now it's more live. I just gotta get used to it.
How quickly can you respond to me?
I'm gonna talk continuously right now. Talking continuously right now. Respond in live time. Like you're walking, you're talking, you're
Uh,
walking.
I can hear you. Now I'm talking and walking.
Okay, it's pretty good now. All right,
Okay.
let's see.
It's like maybe like I'm on a space station or something.
It's
Like a
kind of
little
weird.
lag.
Yeah, I'll get used to it. Let me see. Oh, my bad. Check it out. So I'm looking at this right now. Um,
Okay.
we so we were kind of tasked with um writing and looking at and writing about some films so we can lock down the theme, the tone, whatever, how we want the film to look. Just imagining it, right? I already have an idea, like a
Hmm.
strong idea of what I want the film to like include and how I want it to go, but I haven't, and I have an idea of like what it can look like.
Cinema
Um,
right now?
huh?
Are you talking cinematography?
Okay, initially, so I'm talking a little bit about both. Like I'm talking about,
Vibe or
huh?
like a vibe or the feel of it?
Yeah, yeah, the vibe, the feel, and also like I have an idea of where it can go and how it can play out. I have a strong because obviously it's just a concept. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you like I know exactly where the story starts, middle goes. No, I literally have what I told you last time, a good
Okay.
premise, and I've started building character story ideas out of some of the experiences I've had. So, but I want it to be about what it's about, which is like a horror slash whatever. So let's look at our notes. So, well, first of all, what I have here on our little notepad for the film, I have right now, I'm leaning 51% humor, 49% horror. So that's not an exact percentage. I'm just
Okay.
saying I want it to be more funny than
Uh-huh.
scary. Even if it's a slight, do you see how the balance, it's like 50-50, almost 50-50?
Yeah. Let
Like I
me
wanted,
let me ask you about the contradiction, well, not contradiction, but
now
the
I want to tell you about films that have done that though.
okay. Go
So
ahead.
that have stricken that balance and tell me if you think they're good films.
Okay. Well, remember I have to rewatch that because
Ah,
yeah, we haven't gotten to that one yet.
okay. Well, this is an A24 film. This guy, if you know anything about what's his name? This director, he made this film starring Mia Goth. She's done like a trilogy, a horror trilogy, Maxine, Pearl, and X. Awesome fucking films. They all strike like an intricate balance between horror and comedy, like and even like sexuality within them as well. Um, the whole thing is like when you watch his films, they feel like they're playing on themselves. Like they kind of know they're being funny, but it's set in such a like haunting and like alternate reality that it plays as horror. It's like Chucky or something because you're like it's a fucking
Is it not is it psychological?
no. They're like this one literally is a slasher film, classic slasher film.
Now, When I think
they're all
comedy
pretty
and
much like
action,
slasher films.
slasher mixing together, I think of Shaun of the Dead.
No, no, no. That's like 70-30.
Okay, okay. Because
That's
so like
way too funny.
Bo is Afraid is 70-30 on the other side, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Like I still wanted to feel like a real horror movie.
almost 50-50, right? Because you were saying that when you watched Super 8, you weren't sure if it was not comedy, but you said adventure, a
I
kid's
couldn't,
adventure,
yeah,
or a scary. You're like, you don't know which one it is. Now,
yeah.
is that because it's like it's not blended together seamlessly? Is that, dude, I
Uh,
rewatched that. I hadn't watched that movie since I saw it in theaters
yeah.
because I got free tick. I saw it with J.J. Abrams and Jimmy Kimmel after, like, he took the audience to go see it after like the day before it came out, and I remember it being good at the time. I When I rewatched it,
Wasn't good, right?
oh dude,
Okay, thank you for saying that because I thought
I
it was like a really important, I thought it was like a really strong film for you, so I kind of like went easy on it.
through, to be honest, because I was like the what I loved about the Goonies is that in the first 15 minutes or even 20 minutes of the Goonies, every single character is fleshed out very well and you care for them, even in 20 minutes, because of the banter and the dialogue. I did not get that
Yeah.
with,
So do we
uh,
want to get into do we want to get into our movie reviews yet?
no, because I want to use
Okay.
those as like support, like, as like,
That's also it's also good to
yeah,
do
we can.
this.
Yeah, we can if you want, but
I wanted us to go even before that.
yeah. But
I
well, hold
wanted,
on, but we were talking about like the, you said, what was the percentage?
huh?
Like, what was the percentage ratio that you want to have? Comedy versus
Um, I said
horror?
51%, 49%.
Okay. So just slightly more comedic than scary.
Slightly more comedic than scary. Yeah. And the films I wanted to show you were like, okay, so that was one of them. Another film is let me see. You haven't seen, okay, have you seen this one? Let me see. The name's escaping me right now. Not Blair Witch. It's one about like these witches at high school. Oh, The Craft. Okay.
Never saw that.
Never saw that? Oh, dude, this is such a good film. So, The Craft is basically about a group of girls who are like
I
at
wrote
high
down
school.
X 2022 and then The Craft. What year is
Mhm.
that?
This one is let me see.
I'm taking like physical notes, by the way, because I don't have
Oh
any
yeah.
notes.
Okay, that's good. That's good. This film came out in 1996. Yeah.
1996.
So I'll take those notes and then we'll write them down in the document right now. But look, I'll just skip through it.
Kid Academy. They were the girls who didn't belong. You do stay away from them. Why? They're witches. But after
So
you
what I call these films, and I'm sure there's a better name for it, but what I call these types of films, especially in the 90s, they're like Scream, this one, there's like I Know What You Did Last Summer, even like Final Destination kind of comes in there as well.
Mhm.
They're realistic horror films. They're in that sense because life naturally has drama and comedy mixed in together. Like it's there's not a separation. Like when you have a like a drunk frat party and people are just hanging out and trying to fuck each other, like, and then something terrible happens to them, it's like it's there that was real fucking comedy happening right there, right? And that's like most of the movie. And then the rest of the movie is like the kids like reacting to the horrible shit and things getting like progressively unfunnier because it's getting more serious. So like I don't want it to be that serious, that horror. You know what I mean? I want it to be like a little bit more.
How- okay. I have we should figure out how to keep the stakes high without, well, maintaining that, like, or is that contradictory? Can we not do that? Like, do
What
we
was
have to
that?
pick
What was
one?
that?
Like, how do we maintain high stakes in the situation without making it too serious?
That
And without without like it being like cheap, like because if the stakes don't feel real at all, or believable, or you're not bought into it,
Yeah.
um then it's like I'm trying to think of something that then it becomes more like too much comedy, like Shaun of the Dead, like
Yeah.
where right, you don't want it to be like that, you still want it to feel like that you could have a jump scare, or that there is something ominous happening, but
For example,
right.
This Is the End. You've seen, right? Love it? Okay. I'm not gonna say we're gonna make it This Is the End, but what would you characterize This Is the End as? Comedy?
Yeah, it's definitely like 80%, even more
80%
comedy.
comedy.
If
But
if
what
not more,
but what
because
about
like
the
there's
situation these people were in? Like the movie
it's
itself. Does it feel like they
it
tried to
feels like
make it?
it feels like I'm watching like Paul,
No,
that
it didn't, for me, it didn't feel that much, that bad, that crazy, that
because it's
because it
you have
wasn't interested. The the thing I'll say about that film, even Superbad does it so well, is they still kind of ground themselves in like like realism to the extent that even though goofy and crazy like hijinks occur, the film is already like so grounded in a potential reality that you understand is also realistically possible, that you believe everything that's happening already.
what would be that potential reality in that movie specifically that is one that I
In in that one. The
that
world,
this is the
like a dystopian future. Yeah, like I mean, obviously it's more out there, but shit happens. Like you know what I mean? Like yes, it's and plus they're actually them in the movie. So that's the reality that occurs. So it's real life. So it's like even though we know they're all
right,
comedic,
but everything else like kind of cancels it
yeah,
out.
but
It's
not enough. Not enough to make the movie a complete um like um fantasy comedy film. Not it's nothing like a Water Boy.
I mean, you got like
Compare
deep,
what?
you
Compare
got like
Water
a
Boy.
Exorcist, like butt fucking Jonah Hill, and like
I'm
the
not
demon
saying I want to make.
possession.
I'm not saying I want to. No, I'm not saying I
I'm
want to
just
make
saying that
that would.
because things like that, like you have to
No,
enter like
Danny,
a
you're not getting my point.
okay, sorry.
My point is that these films, okay, like are obviously what's happening in our film is like something that is made up. It's a horror like prop. It's something there that like everyone uses it. It's not a real part of the world. I mean, it's based in some parts of reality, whatever, you know?
Mhm.
So people already are like, okay, we know this doesn't actually happen, but I'm gonna watch this film, and when I see it, the way the movie's playing out, it has this realism to it that you just feel like whatever, like a bullshit premise it has, like that's not based in reality, like most horror films are. You're gonna buy it because you love these characters enough and that low reality that they made. You know what I mean? So I'll give you the best example I can give is Scream, because Scream is like a terrifying horror movie
Mhm.
because it's about serial killers and home invasions and shit.
I'm gonna make sure that one's next on my list.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the thing that Scream beautifully does is like, I mean, it has the jump scares, it has the Hitchcock moments, um, but it has this like one, it has this awareness of itself as a scary movie. And so the characters, because the characters know everything about movies, and they exist in a world where they're not the movie itself, but there's an awareness amongst the cast and like in the film, that allows the movie to have this realism that you're like, it kind of terrifies you more because you're like, fuck, like that
What would
could
I
happen.
do?
Huh?
Like, what would I do?
What do you mean? Yeah, like what
Like,
would I do in that situation? Exactly. Because you're already like you're with these characters, they talk normally. They don't like the situations. One girl's like dealing with the death of her mother, and she has a boyfriend, and they have real authentic conversations. Like the dude's horny for her in the beginning of the scene, he sneaks into her room, jump scares her. Then they go to high school and there's like
don't
kids.
because I'm gonna watch it again. I
Okay.
basically, yeah.
But it's basically like any of those films. So,
Okay.
and that's so that what I want, that's the way I want it to be shot. Like I don't want it to be shot like this,
But
like
there are films, just to interject real quick,
Mhm.
that the relationship between the characters are so good that that you're buying into the movie, everything else, right? But
Mhm.
there's like, uh, just to think of a quick example, it's not in the horror genre, but uh, like a movie like, and this is very rough, but a movie like Armageddon is when you're thinking of like sci-fi, when you're comparing it to like, um, uh, I mean, I don't want to use Interstellar, but we'll just use that because what I'm just like the worlds that they're in. Now, I'm not talking about the science, whatever, but like one is like way less. You have to suspend a certain amount of
For
not
Armageddon.
like
Well, yeah.
one
Are you talking about for Armageddon?
Armageddon has like really good like emotional human connections. The characters like all that is really well. So like everything else that's like implausible like doesn't matter because the story is so good and the characters. But it's well done. But it's even like more well done when you have all those same things, but the world is just built in a more like realistic, like grounded way. I
Yeah.
just want to keep that
And
in
it's
our
also the way the movie is shot. You know what I mean? Like,
that okay that actually is a huge point like this the
yeah,
cinematography can make
yeah.
or break.
Because that film it has all the tropes. Yeah.
Yeah,
That film just get the Armageddon, like the Steven Tyler thing. It was a marketing machine. You know what I
sure.
mean? They tried to just include all these things, like let's make a hit song, and
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
that's what films were doing at that time. Like they were just super loud, just super. I'm thinking like Independence Day, like all these big '90s films. Like we're not making a film like that. Like we're making films like the like A24. I want to make like an A24 style horror film.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Seen
um,
any Shutter films?
huh?
Shutter.
What? What'd you say?
Shutter films, the studio, it's a studio, Shutter. They do low budget like sci-fi scary stuff.
No, I haven't seen them.
You never heard of them?
Mm-mm.
Aaron Paul just did a film with them, and that's the first like mainstream actor I've ever seen do one of their films. um yeah, if you YouTube Shutter like trailers or something like that, you'll see.
I might have heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they did because I saw some like sci-fi space like type stuff, and like what they were able to do with like no budget is insane. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Because I'm just thinking, okay, let's go back to like our movie's premise. Our movie's premise is what? There's six kids, whatever. They're in the number's adjustable. We follow these six kids' lives in a middle school. Where
is
hmm?
to go in depth with each one. Six is
Yeah.
like
Six.
maybe
I'm just
maybe
thinking
three
like a
main and
crew. Most
maybe
of the crews, most
huh.
crew like movies, this is like a crew buddy film. It's gonna be like six or more. And that's like a horror like not nod.
Woods
Like you
would
always have a cast like a 6 to 8 like key character cast in a horror film, I think. Most good ones. Or like the ones I'm thinking of.
yeah.
Like you have the main two characters, right? Which are your protagonist and your antagonist or whatever. And then after that, you have like each one has to have some kind of support system, and we want to invest enough into several characters, interesting characters, because we're gonna go on like a journey with them as they try to survive this situation.
Are those all friends from the same class, or maybe are some of those like parents? Or
This is what I'm thinking of. So I've started already, and we're going a little ahead of ourselves right now. Um,
okay,
But I guess it's important to think about once we're like formulating the concept and thinking about it, right? So I'm thinking for sure, like our protagonist is either gonna be like want like a girl I'm thinking of in my head or a boy. You know, I don't know where I want to go with it. It might either way, like our cast is gonna be Latino and Black kids. Maybe it's gonna be only Latino and Black kids because
Okay.
it's set in a in the hood basically, like in a LA like hood, right? Um, I'm specifically modeling it off of Oscar de la Hoya to my experience there. There was the whole school is Latino, but there was just a couple of Black kids, these two Black twins, big, chubby, scared, like funny, like Black kids. I want them to be in the film.
Okay.
So those are two characters I'm actually thinking of. A lot of these characters I'm basing straight from my experience from like working with these kids because life is reality, like at this point, right? So there was another kid, his name was Marlon. He's kind of the one that I want to base the film on. Let me show you like the disability that he had. I'm gonna show you a picture of it. I forget what it's called. It's kind of like a hunchback, but then he had like some brain like tumors or something. Is it? Let me see. I have his well, he had a disability. Anyways, he's a kid with a disability, but that he's had like a bunch of surgeries. You know, like the kids that wear the helmets, um, in middle, like in elementary school and stuff, because they have a lot of, issues hurting themselves or they seizure out or something like that.
Mhm.
Well, he had some kind of like um disease where it was kind of like it was like eating parts of his brain or something. He had to get surgery on his brain. So he has
Mhm.
like a sunk like a misshapen like sunken head. And then he also like his face has been like shrunken in. So he had like this like kind of like duck mouth and like small teeth and like was like this and
What,
very small sunken face. Huh?
what was his condition?
Well, he had these like brain tumors that they had like operated him on. Um,
Oh, okay, so that was just what was the result of
this he was just born with this certain type of disability that like affects your face that way. Um,
this?
and it gives you like a hunchback. I forgot the name of it though. I'll find it. I'll find it. But
Because that would be if that's like if you want to set
oh,
that name,
I have his like file still.
yeah, yeah, it would be
I
important
could
to
find
understand
it.
the condition and do research
Yeah.
on it
Yeah.
because you also if we're going to do something specific like that, you want to write the character and his mannerisms and what he does
Yes.
in a real way to
And it
honor
was good. It was great because as his case manager, like I had access to him every day. He was
him.
in my intervention class. So I can envision him perfectly. I know exactly what like how he's gonna act, his mannerisms. But the reason I liked him is like because he was just extremely intelligent, but he had this like physical limitation to him. Um, and so like and he was just a smart ass funny, like clever, just said the craziest shit and then but try to get away with a lot of things because of his disability and how he looked and stuff. He had these like really long hands and short arms, so he would go like this, like he just looked funny.
Purpose?
Huh?
Like he did that on purpose?
No, he would this is like he just would swing his arms around like that.
Mhm.
Like he had this kind of like tick about him, you know? Um
Why do you want him to be the protagonist?
because he's just he's an unlikely hero. Um,
Hero. Okay.
he's gonna be the most charming kid, and he's gonna have this arc of like not knowing your potential, using everything against you to like not believe that you can handle something. So he'll kind of like be afraid at first and timid and kind of angry and overreactive, and some of the causes will be because of his own self-esteem or lack of self-esteem from his disability. He has a brother in the real life. He had a brother that was like good looking and handsome and an athlete. Um, and he's just kind of like, and you're at a high school where, I mean, let's be honest, what's more important than getting laid, you know? So he's just like learning how to like deal with himself and learn about the world and stuff. And then he's just thrust into this position where technically he's the smartest of all of these kids who are having to go on this mission, you know? So he kind of has to he has to take that like role as leader by necessity. But he's kind of like forced into certain situations. So that's why I like, huh?
Well, what's that bar? Like how um like is he going to grow into a leadership position? Is
If
he
he's gonna be called to it.
already a leader in the classroom?
He
Like
is,
social
but he doesn't know it. He's a lead. He's never thought of himself as a leader. He's never even believed that. And that's the thing about leadership as well, is like we're all leaders in certain situations when we have to be, you know? We all have those qualities in us.
we
It's
have the opportunity.
yeah, well, we have them in us. Whether we choose to use them or not is
Mhm.
dependent on us and the situation, right? So this kid in high school, you don't need to take that responsibility. You can just sit in the back, bitch and moan, and just like pretend that the world hates you. And for this kid, it was like, okay, hey, you look like shit. Sorry, you do. You look weird. Like you're not gonna fuck normal women in your life unless you pay for it. Like that's just a reality. So what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna try to get good grades? Are you gonna try to like be cool with people? Or are you just gonna hate the world? You know? And it's easy for me to say, you know, because I'm whatever, but for a person who's not, you know, who has a disability like that, and he also had a learning disability as well on top of everything else. So it's easy to get down on yourself. Like it's easy to feel fucking depressed because he's cognitively able to understand that about himself. He sees, you know, and is locked in and aware of how he's viewed amongst his peers in the school. You know what I mean? Um, where most kids with learning disabilities or autistic or have some other intellectual disability, most of them are not really concerned about what other people think about them. They can't really like process it unless it comes down on them physically, you know? Like somebody bullies them. And then even then it'll be like a child is processing it. So, you know, like the kids that like we're not going to include like any moderate to severe disabilities, I think. Um, Maybe. I just don't.
Everyone, him, the rest of the people will also be
They all
similar,
they all have learning disabilities or something similar.
but he'll have the most like grit or determination or okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. Now, okay. So
So I want to base it, huh?
an unlikely hero.
Yeah. So an unlikely hero, coming of age, like because he's like a teenager, you know, coming of age. Like I want this film to feel like triumphant at the end of it, you know?
Mhm.
I don't want it to feel like The Exorcist. um at the end of that film you feel like damn they're lucky to be alive. It's just like this, you know what I mean? I want it to be like they didn't really overcome anything that
The
in
end
that
of like
film,
Django.
huh?
You want it to be like the end of Django Unchained.
Something
Like
like that, yeah. I wanted to have this feeling of like these kids could do it, these kids, because the core message of it is like speaking on real life. Like so often kids in our communities, like we don't have that, like I don't know. It's all about like do will we make it in this world? Like we're that's a real question.
part of the note, that's part of the Goonies notes that I took because
Mhm.
in the beginning of the film, there's a distance between the adults and the kids, like because the adults are faced with this problem of eviction and the whole
Yeah,
town and this, and they don't believe there's no reason to believe why would the kids be able to help,
yeah,
but by the end of the movie, they're the ones who save everything with the treasure,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And uh, and it takes throughout the course of the movie for each character as they're solving problems and moving further and further towards like um finding
Nemo.
uh was huh the treasure whose treasure was it DB's treasure D something whatever
I
anyways
forgot the name of it. Yeah.
whatever that guy the
Yeah, yeah.
um but you know the parent the adults never saw that coming, you know what I mean?
No. No, no, no. And
And
it's actually there's no
I
adults.
love that.
Yeah. I love that about the movie too. Okay, let's get into our notes about the film real quick. Okay, so what's the best way? So my
I like that we're starting to build our protagonist right now. So I'm already thinking of like well like another thing too is like I want to know like let's build this person like you know when you before you start a video game, you know, you can customize like your player or whatever.
uh-huh.
One thing I do want to know because that will determine a lot is this going to be a girl or a boy?
I would like it to be a boy, but I have like the same version of the female character as well.
No, why would it be one and or the other?
Um, we I'm open to it.
Okay.
I think we should make the characters first, see the plot, and then like,
Well, but
because the
what
girl struggle, I like the girl struggle too. Like,
we don't understand that as
to,
much
huh?
as
We don't
we understand.
understand that.
Yeah, we I think it'd be
I
easier
think
for us. Yeah.
to do a male,
Yeah, because any secondary supporting characters could be female because those don't need to be as
thought out and fleshed out.
like well it's I mean, yeah, because like I mean neither of us I mean
Yeah, but I've grown up around women. I know women.
that's true. Yeah, you have a lot of
And
girls in your family.
and even at school, most of the kids that fuck with me and I fuck with are girls.
Yeah.
Like they're just the ones who are drawn more to me. They're like funniest. Like in my school, obviously I was a baseball coach, but like the girls that wouldn't leave my side were Jennifer and Carla, or yeah, Carla. Like they were just always they were my managers. So like, you get to know them well. They're pretty much like boys, just with vaginas. Like they
Yeah.
like they, huh?
At that age, right? They're all
At that age, yeah, they're like they just like different things. Obviously, they're into girl shit. Um, I think they're way more mature than boys. I think it would be more interesting to do a girl perspective because, like, when they really know a lot more stuff than guys at that age, they just
Mhm.
act like they don't, because they
One
don't.
thing, even though the characters weren't fleshed out, but one thing I did like about Super 8 was Fanning's character, that girl, was like more mature by default,
Yeah,
more like, you know, just seemed older than all of them, you know,
yeah,
and he did look older too, but
yeah. Okay, so Super 8, what I didn't like about it was the dynamic between the group didn't feel natural. Like literally a couple of the kids. Huh?
hold on, let me pull up my notes. I didn't
Oh
put them
yeah.
on,
I don't think
but
you put them on the doc.
mm.
There was that whole aspect of it. I like from the beginning, the acting was like it just didn't immerse me. Like the lines,
I think it was just the writing and the way
the
like
writing and it just doesn't it didn't feel
I
natural.
put I put the characters are roughly introduced as a group and not much banter to establish closeness or individuality, more importantly,
Yeah.
albeit maybe two characters, which is like the best front filmmaker. But like you said in your notes, like you don't really establish like you're just thrown into it without any exposition on relationships and characters. Like I don't like it didn't
Exactly.
why I felt myself questioning the whole time, like why
The
do I
movie
care?
opened with a sudden death, but you don't care at all. And the kids don't even care.
Yeah,
Like,
I put with aftermath of protagonist major life
yeah.
event. It's a
Yeah.
death. Yeah.
Do you remember like how the kid wasn't even like reacting to it? Like, and not in a oh, I'm stunned by this and I'm just trying to process it kind of way. He didn't have a act like an acting bone in his body.
It felt super similar to the start of Guardians of the Galaxy because in that movie it starts with a death right off the bat, and he goes out like he just runs away from it and gets like taken by the
Does it?
aliens. Yeah, you know remember his mom dies in the first like
Yeah, but it was action at least. It was like there was stuff happening. Um,
after. But it was very similar at the start. Like you start with the death and you're
But
like,
it was
what the
shot more like a montage, though. You know what I mean? Like it
guard?
made,
No, there was a whole full fleshed out scene of her
yeah.
on the bed. She's like, come to me. She like puts her hand out and he walks away from her. And
That
his
was
dad's,
dramatic, though, Danny.
yeah.
That was a dramatic moment. Like you felt the tension of what was happening. Like in this other film, like it would have been more interesting to sit with like the dad. Like you didn't even see that that would have been a more interesting scene, I think, to like or if the kid
For
had a
me,
real way of feeling about it. Like the
yeah.
kid didn't have a real emotion that he was experiencing. Like I didn't know who like it was a bunch of kids just making fun of it, and I was like, okay. I mean, it's
Yeah.
fine,
Well,
but
that's the thing. Right after that scene, like when they like the follow up, the way they followed that just didn't made it not work.
yeah.
You know,
And that's just the way I think there's a lesson there of like how to
I would be very interested to see like not a side by side, but to see those both intros again, just to see like
which ones?
of Guardians of the Galaxy and Super 8, just that
Uh,
first like 2 or 3 minutes, like
let me let me
and
see.
see 'cause it's so similar. Like when I was watching it, I felt or pull it up now, like the opening to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Let me see. Um, I just know I love that film way more. It's like such a classic. It's also the characters, dude. Like, I mean, how are you gonna compare these
But
characters to? How are you gonna compare
I'm
these
talking about the
characters?
whole movie.
These are
Movie, I
iconic.
cried at that. The movie made me cry at the end.
What I'm
Uh,
saying is you already know these about them before going into it. So you know that because it's fucking Star-Lord and it's happening to him, it's gotta be important. These kids, like, who the fuck
in
cares about them?
the
Right?
first 3 minutes, they're so similar. I don't know. There's not that much like
Let me
you
see.
know, because you don't know anything about anybody in the first 3 minutes. You're just like you
Need a Disney Plus. What's the website they use? Soper?
Soper.live.
Um, I don't know. I think there's a different reason why. Uh, so what you're saying is the Guardians of the Galaxy opening scene is just like Super 8 in its impact?
I'm saying that when I was watching Super 8, that those first few minutes, I was like, man, this is so similar. It feels the same as Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, obviously, that very after that, it very quickly was not. But I'm saying like, in those first few minutes, like you don't know anything about anybody. You don't know who, you don't
You
know
didn't know anything about the Guardians of the Galaxy when you saw it?
the first one.
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
how? That's not like a Spider-Man or something like an Iron Man type
You
thing.
knew it
Like,
was a Marvel comic book.
yeah,
So that
that
already
me.
adds, that's different. See, this is interesting.
Yeah.
This is interesting as fuck right here. Like the visual of that, that's symbolic. This is like motif type shit. You know what I mean?
What?
Like,
Elaborate.
huh?
Elaborate on what
Okay,
you.
well the symbol of this was like such a timeless symbol. All right, here, watch.
1998.
Oh no, no.
Well, wait. What are you doing?
I know. Well, you said to put it back. Let me put it back 10 seconds. Hold on. That scene, that shot right here, just a dad talking to his son. Like it's a motif in the sense that it provides this like familiar, huh?
Let it like start it like let the first 2 minutes play. Let's just watch it.
I already know it's nothing like Super 8.
And we're gonna watch the first 2 minutes of Super 8 too.
No, we don't need to do that.
Well, we're gonna compare.
For what? This movie's way better.
No one said that, Jesse.
Oh,
You're being super defensive right now. I'm just
I
trying to
know.
add this film, and you're being like, "Look, here's all the reasons why." Like, you're like, "Look at this." Like, you don't
No, no,
even
no.
know.
I just don't know why I don't want to. Well, you don't need to sit here and watch this whole shot. I know, I remember it now. The point was to remember it.
The first, they both start out with a death, and in your notes, you're
Okay,
like,
but there not that's okay. I know. Let's look. Okay, there is a death somewhere, but it's nowhere near the same because this scene is showing the person dying. Like you care about the mom already. Literally, she's in the shot.
Yeah.
Super 8 doesn't do that at all. Super 8 is you're at a funeral already.
Okay.
So you already like don't care about this woman. They're gonna say like, oh, unless they do flashbacks of her,
Bad.
huh?
Because again, I think the way it was followed, all the scenes, like the opening is fine. You can open on a death or at a funeral,
Why
but
are we
how
talking
you
about
do
that?
it, how you execute it matters. Super 8 did not do a good job.
I know, I agree with you.
Okay.
The only point I was making was that Super 8 and Guardians of the Galaxy did not open the same way. So we
They
were
both took a death.
no, no, they don't. This film is opening with the mother alive. She's not
Yes, but in
dead.
the same way, okay, in later on in the movie in Guardians, you find out a lot
Why are
more
you
about
comparing those two movies? I don't understand that.
because we're talking about like first we were talking about how
They're nothing
Goonies
the same. They're nothing alike.
very well. And they gave like the world building was done very well. Super 8 they did not do a great job at that.
Yeah, I
But
agree with you.
part of your notes was that you're like it started with a death.
So this is my thing. My
Other
notes,
than
not
that,
that
but they
my
do it.
notes
Uh-huh.
it's the intent I was trying to make with it is just that the character did not seem affected by it. So I'm talking his like performance. The character you did not feel that he was like struggling with this death. So that
Mhm.
made me like kind of like, okay, is it just a bad actor? Is it just didn't feel realistic, you know? And there's a lot of parts of the movie where like
Hadn't I can't like again, that's why I keep saying it's like everything that happens after that. It's like they just didn't follow up or like build
I
off
didn't,
of that.
yeah, I know.
Like,
They
but
didn't.
like thing
It
like
did.
that.
That's part of the whole like struggle with the. I'm just that's the only point I made about that. I wasn't talking about that I want to open on a death or like I want to do that. It's just like if we shoot something that's emotional, taxing, um, because there's going to be potentially like real life scenarios in this film.
Mhm.
Like,
You
you
wouldn't
know,
want to you would yeah, I wouldn't want to open with that. I want to wait
I
until
was
like
never, but the commentary on that was never. Maybe you misinterpreted like why I added that commentary or whatever. Like the notes that I took on these films, they're it's not because like I'm pulling necessarily all of those structures. I'm just thinking of like there's these are three amazing films. They involve like the horror aspect of The Exorcist. It's just a classic in horror. So it's good to see what it looks like, a demonic possession, like at its cinematic height, you know? And then I felt The Goonies was like just a classic friend kid buddy movie. You added Super 8 for whatever reason.
well,
Um,
because I remembered, I thought it would be. I mean, it's appropriate in the sense that it has a lot to do with what we're
I mean, it's a friend group, so I thought you were thinking of like because
their
it's a
middle.
friend group, but these kids are not like my kids are not trying to make a movie.
Yeah.
They're not trying to make a movie. They're trying to survive like an improbable situation, you know, which is something that they do. And I did like some aspects of the film from Super 8 where it was like kind of meta, like, you know, the kids there's some irony because the kids are talking about storytelling as like the story is coming through, you know? Um,
Mhm.
and but yeah, just overall the kids to me they're not as memorable in Super 8 as compared to the Goonies.
Absolutely. I
No.
don't even remember like
Yeah.
any of the names
The
from.
personalities, and that's what I want from the Goonies is like the personalities. Like every kid that you know comes out in that fucking movie it look they look memorable before you even know anything about them like they already have a look they look like the back of a you know like a comic book or something they all have a specific face and like feature and something interesting about them where are they at? You can make an action figure out of every single kid in that film the way they all look. You know what I mean? Like you had the like the chunky kid with like, you know, all the screams and looking like the scarecrow on
By the way, did you know that Jeff Cohen used to be the manager, or sorry, the business lawyer for the band that I used to manage, the New Division?
no, I didn't know that.
After became their lawyer after I was done with like after like
Who did?
stuff. Jeff Cohen, Chunk.
Oh, okay, Chunk. Okay. No, I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, he's a lawyer in the music industry now, in the entertainment industry.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And just a little fun fact.
Okay. Yeah, and then so you know what I mean? Like every one of these kids, look at his gloves, his purple rain, his little sweat, his hair, and then obviously he's such a character at this point, you know. But like if you didn't know about them as actors, because you know, obviously he had an acting career, they had an acting career, so they already have a lot of skill and training and talent.
What's his name? Koi? He's just now blowing up. Like his career
Yeah.
is just now taking off, which is cool.
Yeah, for sure. But that's what I want to make like because I have an idea of what these characters, you know, are gonna act, feel like. But I want to create whole
Same,
characters.
like if you just saw like a screenshot of like Superbad, like the three guys, like that's like
Mhm.
um
You know how when you used to, okay, do you know how you used to see these types of screens? Like, um, let me see. These type of like these screens, right? When like you're in a video game and you
choose
see, huh?
like a choose your character screen.
Yes. So basically, like I want to have like a choose your character like vibe for for these kids, you know, where they have they're fully fleshed out characters. Like if you look at fucking, I don't know, this guy right here, like you know he's been through some shit. Like there's just something about him. He has like a backstory. You know, it's same thing with like the John Wick cast. I don't know if you've seen these like you've seen these movies, right?
I've seen all four.
Okay, great. So you know exactly what I'm talking about, like that whole feel of it where it has this video game approach to like character building, you know?
Walks into like the hotel and to the bar and like
Yeah.
all
This
characters.
film, yes, this film does it extremely well too. It's a Guy Ritchie film. Every character is just so fully developed, and then you learn about new characters as they come, and they give you like a little snippet of their like backstory, you know? It's kind of like
The
uh
only thing is like the back
you know
how
how
much
Goodfellas does it?
how much backstory. It's all about personalities because backstory. I mean, kids in middle school are only gonna. It's all about like what families they come from or like
Yeah,
what house like. Like
yeah.
they don't have like life
No,
story experience and stuff like that. It's just whatever happens at school, at home, on the
yeah.
playground, in between.
And that's the stuff that's interesting too, you know?
Mhm.
Like
Goodfellas.
I would love to, huh?
Goodfellas.
Yeah. I was just thinking like,
About it.
you know how they introduce characters in the film? You know, like how it's just this like constant like, hey, that's Benny. And then there's like a voiceover. Ah, Benny was this kid from the block that, you
The
know?
narration is superb. Like it's
Yeah.
like
But
well,
that's how I want to treat these characters. Like treat them in a way where like you know a little bit about their life, their backstory. Like before the film even starts, it would be cool to see all these kids like getting, I don't know, getting ready for school in the morning. That's another thing we got to talk about, like the timeline of it, you know? Huh?
like a little montage,
Yeah,
like a
like a longer type montage where you learn like you see what these kids' lives are like. You know, you meet some like parents, but the parents aren't just these like role parents. They're actually like fleshed out characters like I was talking about with these like screens, you know, like because every human is.
another thing I did like. I mean, and this is super anecdotal, but in Superbad, that fat kid, the directors, that his house felt real. His
Hmm.
family chaotic and stuff and all that. I
Keep
like
going.
that.
I'm gonna get some
That
water. Keep going. I
that
can't.
reminded me of E. Yeah, that reminded me of ET because in ET, during the world building and exposition in the opening scenes, you see like it's like them, all the kids playing Dungeons and Dragons, and it's chaos. They're like cursing and like they're eating pizza, and then the
Yeah.
mom comes home, and it feels so real and organic. And for a brief moment during that scene in Super 8, I got that feeling too. And it felt like that whole family was fleshed out. Like they're
Yeah.
just going by, they're busy, like dinner, you know what I mean? I want to have that feel for our characters too.
I don't want it to be like the parents in Dexter's Laboratory, you know, where it's just some tall person and some like, you know what I mean? Like I want to get the feel that every character here, like, you know, they're the main character. They could be the potentially main character in a spin-off film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold on, yeah.
Yeah. Let me go take a hit. Hold on.
Hey, Danny, let's take like a little 5 minute break. Yo, yo.
Yep.
So so how are we feeling concept wise? Like where do
Oh,
you,
are you?
huh?
All right. No, I got to fold clothes too, actually.
Bring it to the room.
The thing is, I left them in the dryer too long, so now they're all wrinkled. I got to like throw a wet towel in there and
Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead, take a
hold
little break
on.
if you need to.
Yeah. Give me a- All right.
Yep. So do we think that the concept should come from like the characters, or should we have like, how do you start, how do you want to start with the concept? Do you want to formulate more of the plot first and then go into
Yeah,
like,
let's start with the, I wrote down who, what, when, where, why, so
let's
let's
do
do
it.
even, let's do that, we'll go
Huh?
from there. Let's start there and then see what we could build off of that.
Mm-hmm.
So we already have the who, a very basic who.
All right, so we have like a ragtag. Basically, the Who is like a ragtag group of special learning, special education kids. And either a teacher or like a social worker or I would like it to be a teacher. So it
Okay.
could be like at least one adult in the film would be like a cool contrast, you know?
An ally or an enemy or
Ally.
someone who's gonna throw a
Well,
wrench in everything.
there'll be allies and enemies, but this like he'll be like kind of uh like
He'd
a
be like Josh Brolin's character in the Goonies. No, because there's more than
yes,
one.
kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah.
Along for the adventure, but
Just
like
along for
it's
the adventure is like someone
actually
you can kind of trust.
relate
But
to them fully.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's
Brings a different, a more wiser perspective.
more wiser perspective, but also like I don't know what the fuck is happening, you know?
One thing I did write a note about, just because I'm looking at the Super 8 notes, like
Oh,
just the basic plot structure is easy to understand, which I like. They're making a movie, right? So they go to the train station for a scene, so they have a reason to be there. And then like the train accident happens, like it just kind of like, you know what I mean? And they like, so it's like, they weren't just like at this train station for no reason. Like it was just very basically established. Like I'm talking about like basic things like that, because like if like why are they in this room? Why are we here? Like that kind of thing. Um, why are you smiling?
because I'm high.
Are you?
I took some edibles.
Oh, you froze up. Oh, there you go.
I said I took some edibles.
Um, really?
I'm high as
How
fucking
long ago?
like 2 hours ago. So they're
I could
peaking.
see it in your
So I'm
right
peaking
here.
right now. Yeah. I feel like I just smoked a joint.
Nice.
Um,
Um, so
yeah,
we got the Who, but when you say the Who, so the Who
we
is the
don't, so
whole group.
let's
We're
flesh it
not.
out a little bit more. Because I do have a good amount of like what I want it to look like. You're taking notes on this?
I'm taking some notes. Yeah, like when I think of the
Okay.
the Goonies
So
main. Go ahead.
oh, so this is what I'm thinking of for my characters, right? So you have the kid, and then he has a best friend. Okay. Um, then you have like,
Is the best? Are we gonna have one kid in the group who's not like in their class, just a normal kid?
yeah, you could just be like the dumbest kid, like just this
Friend?
autistic kid. Huh?
Like, is that the best friend? Like the best friend of our main
Yeah.
guy is? I
Could
like
be.
that.
Yeah. Could be. It could be whatever we want. Yeah, that sounds good.
And they're both like they both like bond over like music or like a specific artist. Like like they're the only ones of their like what is it Z now?
They're Gen Z? No, we're on like Gen X or something. Or Y.
X. Yeah, yeah. Whatever the generate, like they're the only ones like from their age group who like know about like um Wu-Tang Clan or something like that, like something like from like old school hip hop or something like that, and
Oh,
that's what
cool.
what's up?
Like West Coast rap. Like all the kids at school are listening to like corridos. That I really wanted to make it like Mexican Spanish like influence, you know?
Oh, okay, so then they're more likely to be listening to like hip hop or like, Spanish music. So maybe it's something like Bob Dylan or something like they both like, they're the only ones that know like something like that, and
Yeah.
it could even be something creepy, like a artist that makes creepy music or whatever, but something that's respectable that we would be like, yeah, like those are cool kids, like that they have that bond,
Yeah.
over this, you know.
I
I
want
like
I
because
want
that would bring a normal kid from like the normal gen pop to like bond with somebody like that, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me put these notes. Well, yeah, so it would be cool. It would be interesting too. I want to add like a some like culturally relevant jokes. I don't know how you feel about that.
Like current event jokes that aren't going to
No,
hold up well.
no, I said
Okay.
culturally relevant.
Okay. Yeah, like what? Of course, I'd be down with that.
Like like a Mexican grandma yelling at her kid, huh?
Like stereotypes,
Yeah, no, no, real authentic shit. Because I'm really about that life. You know?
things like cross cultures, because like all like parents like well, no, not
No,
like
but
from
not the way it looks like in a Spanish, huh?
uh like
Certain
all
things that
parents.
happen, there's certain conversations, certain things from the Mexican like world that I want to bring into it, Latino world.
Mhm.
Cultural stuff like when you're in the house, you see the cross and the picture of Jesus and like, the Virgin Mary's little temple, like in a house. Like you hear the parents speaking in Spanish, the kids when they make jokes, sometimes they speak Spanglish. Like that's I really want that to be like a driving force of the film.
Okay.
Because I want it to be fresh. I want it to be like I want it to represent like a real part of the population to like today, you know?
Hold on. What's up? Yeah. All right. That's it. 20 minutes. Yeah. Okay.
You know why I love being a teacher? Oh, you see the future coming up. Like you're interacting with them constantly. You're like, oh shit,
Hmm.
these are the future humans of America or California, you know?
You want me to do it? Sorry. Oh, I mean, yeah, you could do it. Um, keep going.
No, I'm just saying like I want to represent like these kids in cinema that haven't been their stories haven't been told yet. Like the Goonies, we've seen a bunch of white kids on an adventure story like all the time, you know? Like when have we seen like 21st 2020, kids growing up in the smartphone era from Latino backgrounds who with Latino or like person of color, black struggles, you know, and what their parents had to go through and like how they talk and interact. Like there's very limited number of films that come out in Hollywood that do that, right? Like can you name any of them?
Like from like the last 5 years?
Yeah, or even 10 years.
No.
I can't name one. So that's why I'm like, I want
You
to,
should GPT if he could find any
okay,
about
let
that.
me, what do
Let's
I,
see. Ask like what movies in the last 10 years deal with middle school kids, Latino and or like minority middle school kids perspective.
what,
That that
what
obvious.
films ever released in the United States have dealt with Latino
Like
students
I would
in
just put
school
minority like middle school kids.
or minority middle school kids. I'm thinking it's those those like inspiring movies, you know?
What do you mean? Like a Lifetime movie?
Yeah, like or these, these types of like what's it called? These kids in these like educational movies, like what are they called?
On my block, that cover art looks interesting.
Look at this is barely coming out. March 16th, but you have like a mixed cast. This one, what the fuck is that?
Not like a romance or something like that. I don't
I think this is something I should put into Google. Let's see. Just a picture of Goodfellas.
know.
Latino movies, 20. Oh, well, maybe Y Tu Mamá También. No, but that's different. That's nothing.
I,
That's a Mexican film. See, none of these are like, okay, I think we have to go to the list like this at this point. Zorro. There we go. The Mask of Zorro.
that deals with kids.
No, it's just the Latino films in the National Film Registry.
Oh,
So,
La Bamba, that's a good movie.
oh, The Bomb's a great movie. But I'm saying these are the best Latino like films. Oh, this is what I was talking about. This is the closest one. Stand and Deliver. You've seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that movie dealt with, kids, but it was a drama, and it was inspiring. It's a great film, but they're just not made that much. There's once in a
very
while.
narrow band. It's very like laser pointed.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
There's this film that I want you to watch, or you might have seen it. It's called Vampires in the Bronx. Oh, Vampires versus the Bronx. It's a sick ass movie. It's about a group of kids like that they all live in the Bronx and basically there's like this vampire manifestation. But it's kind of strikes like something of what the tone I want to have in my film. Um but it's a little more like on the funny, like crazy side. But I honestly would love to make a movie like this. It would just be like a different styling of it. Like
it's
it would,
almost like a comic, maybe.
huh?
It's like more like comic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, watch, let me show you the trailer.
Yo, it's your girl going
See this?
minutes you live. If you see a kid that's riding a bike 2 sizes too big for him, like this little man trying to save the neighborhood. And speaking of saving the neighborhood, what's up with all these missing person flyers?
Yo, check out the courthouse.
They're turning it into apartments?
Y'all know how this starts. The white people with canvas bags. That's always the first sign.
It's like culty.
What you doing down here, bro? It's too late to fight back now. We are going to wipe you out like the bird you are.
We got vampires in the Bronx.
So yeah. So
There's vampire. It's like one of those lines that's basically the title. Of the movie.
yeah.
There's
But
vampires.
that one's too funny. Huh? But
Is that like a comedy?
it's a comedy. It's more comedy than, than like drama and like horror film. But I think it's too much comedy. I want ours to be like, you know, kind of like authentic, like more authentically scary, I think.
That's what I'm saying. But when you say like 51-49, I'm like,
Do you think we gotta choose? We can't play both lines?
I think it's because like you said, like how do you know? How can you distinguish? Like how do you know what to like? Because if you're laughing the whole time, you're not going to be scared.
Who said no, I don't want them to be laughing the whole time. Do you think by necessity because of, okay,
You're
maybe
laughing
we
too
should look
often.
more into the horror, into the comedy.
Horror build, right? And if you can't like every time you have like comedic relief, you're gonna have to start from zero
What
to
I'm
build
saying is,
again.
yeah, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay,
Like, there's movies that balance it, like, and they're still scary.
like Always Afraid is really good example because there's comedy, there's split second comedy or like funny looking images in like horrific moments or the other way around. There,
Yeah.
uh, and like when he wakes up from his he wakes up and those people take him in and he's in their daughter's bedroom and it's all peaceful and pink and there's like shiny things and
Mhm.
the wind outside, you see the trees, but like that's such a contrast of what you're feeling because you're waking up.
So what I would want
And
it to.
I'm
Mhm.
just using that example, waking up in an
Yeah.
innocent setting where like it's supposed to be super safe, like you're in a little girl's bedroom,
Yeah.
but like but on the contrast, like the strangers took you there and you don't know this place. And, like there's like super close up shots of like the chandelier and like things like that. They're so eerie and off putting that contrast. It's just a complete uh, um, yeah, like the stark contrast between the setting, the safety of the setting,
Yeah.
the innocence of it versus like the situation that he's in,
Yeah.
you know.
I hear that. Yeah. Um, One thing that made me think of your share was I would like the film to so the way we can balance it is like this. So it would start off like a funny, just like middle school movie, right? So start off,
Oh, okay. Throw him off.
yes,
Like Cloverfield. In the first
yes,
like minutes, you forget that you're watching a monster movie. You're so invested in the characters and the situation, like the macro situation, the everyday like that you're so invested that by the time like that first like boom happens and the lights go out, you're like, what the like okay,
yes,
I love that, dude. I
yeah.
love hell yeah, dude. And Cloverfield, no,
Yeah.
because it's like creature, and this
But that's the kind of film I love, dude. Like my favorite films are films that like start off just like you're into this world of these characters. It's funny, like who knows? It could be about a romance or just a bunch of guys like trying to hang
yeah,
out, and then
yeah.
just boom, something happens to them. Like
And one thing that the movie does do good is This Is the End does that really good.
that's what I was talking about. That was the point I was trying to extract from This Is the End, not
Okay.
about the
I
plot.
like
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I meant. Yeah, like that you
The
could watch this shit
final
just unfold.
thing spooky happens when they go to the liquor store from the party and like the people are raptured. Up until that point, you just think you're watching like a behind the scene or like an entourage type movie where
Yeah,
like actors are just playing themselves, like a
yeah,
fictional, so slightly, you know. I
yeah,
like that a lot. I like that. The misleading, like just get the viewer to completely suspend any um um anticipation of something.
yeah. Yeah, so this would be like maybe the first third of the film, maybe even a little bit like less. So that would be like one third of the film. Then you're talking about like things might happen in between there, but I want to build up that character. Like I would like to build up because I have locked in the character of the girl who gets possessed. Okay, so the girl who gets possessed, she exists in real life. Okay, she's based on like a fully like idealized
Wait,
version.
is what we're doing?
Huh?
That's what you want to do? Like
Yeah.
a demonic possession?
Yeah. A demonic possession because it could, and I want it to be because now how this possession takes place, I've already thought of it too. So it's not a possession and you remember that like whole aspect in the Exorcist. That's one thing I loved about it was it was grounded in realism. So despite the movie being about a possession, it maintained the sense of realism because it had these medical perspectives. It had science. There was like logical explanations that were
They tried to
integrated.
rule out everything else.
Huh?
They tried to rule it out, like
Yeah.
everything else. Like, they try to like go down,
And so
the
that's what I want to happen in our film. Like I want it to all come from like because that's literally what happens in real life. Like kids look possessed sometimes when they're like having seizures or when they're having like these their episodes, they look like all like for lack of a better if a baby kid came by and saw that, they would freak out and start crying, you know? Um there's kids that have these fits of anger at our school. They have these disabilities where they're called like emotional disturbances. Now they're called emotional disabilities where they hit, they scream, they try to run, they try to hurt themselves and others. Like they basically want to kill somebody at that point. You know what I mean? Because they're just like they have such a faulty, mental state at that point that they can see something going on in their heads that's not actually reality, you know? Like we had this kid that was like um just smacking everyone, like just hitting people, running away, hitting people, slamming things. He broke into my class and threw all my stuff on the floor. I don't even know the kid, but he was just like that, like fucking rabid, just had this disability. So what I would want is like the girl, huh? I would want the girl to have some kind of disability where, the doctors think like maybe the teachers are talking about, huh?
Like you think that that's what it is.
We
Her
think that's what it
normal
is, but
they
and
have
the
exist
yeah. So to
that
have a
you're just attributing
disability,
it
we
to.
all exactly. So she's gonna have a disability that we all think we know, but the kids,
That's just
yeah, but then we shift to the kids' perspective, and like the kids don't know something else is going on because kids always pick it up first from each
now.
other.
What is it because something new or something changes in her behavior, or is it that
Yes.
there's like a story ongoing that they've been
Well,
telling themselves?
both. It's like the
It,
myth.
okay, I like that.
You know what I mean? It's like the myth of the kids where they're like, "Oh, that bitch is crazy. Like that, just stay away from that girl. She like talks to herself during recess, you know?" So they could be like, "Oh, remember she used to say those weird things? Like, what did that mean?" And then like progressively, like she's just like getting worse in the classroom. Like she's saying
Mhm.
like super creepy things to them, like stuff from like other horror movies. And this girl herself, she loves horror movies. So that's kind of gonna be like the meta aspect of it, because she has
Like
this
it's too predictable
yeah,
almost from
yes,
the perspective.
yes,
It's like the obvious school shooter. Like, yeah, if
yes,
anybody was going to be, then like it's so we don't even need to worry about them.
yes, exactly. She's gonna know the crazy thing is her disability is gonna have caused her to like by this point she's said so many she has said
20
so
minutes.
many crazy things
Mhm.
at this point that the kids, kind of just are like, she's just some weird bitch, you know?
Mhm.
But she's actually like conjuring up the devil and shit, like because she's been watching so many horror films. She's like basically like
Come on. Now you were saying you said the how of how she's going to get it, but why?
maybe she's trying to make a deal with the devil so that it could be like overcome her disability. Yeah, like just
Or,
to be just to be
or
normal,
mhm.
And it could be like the kids like somehow
Mhm.
the kids practice an exorcism, like where they don't. That would be so funny, like where one of the kids has seen The Exorcist, and he explains the plot of it to them, to like
Yeah.
the rest of them, and
I
they
think
have
that
to.
could be in a very subtle, short way. Like the guy bring, like one of the kids pulls out like a wooden cross and be like, "You guys haven't seen, whatever." Like,
I would even like for them to like guide themselves from the playbook of The Exorcist. Like, no,
yeah, but
first
this is the end. Literally, they do that.
is the end.
It's
Okay,
about
in
it's
just
about
one scene though.
yeah, but it's a long scene. Like
Okay, so kids, maybe it's just a line. Kids are meta for a moment and talk about, how this is just like The Exorcist. Maybe it's not a possession, like we don't need to do like a ritual, whatever. We don't even
no,
have to really explain,
little,
huh?
like a little homage or a little tidbit. Like,
Like, yeah. I don't think we need to do a full exorcism film. I just think it could look and feel like a possession movie. Because there's possession movies that something's happening, you don't really ever get like a result, like you know what I mean. You don't always need um some kind of exorcism at the end of it. It could just be like, damn, some crazy shit happened. Have you seen these
Hereditary, like they win. Like everybody
exactly
does. Yeah.
that kind of shit. Like you never get to the point of doing an exorcism and exercising this shit, you know? Have you ever seen these films? The Sam Raimi, Dawn of the Dead, and all these. Not Dawn of the Dead. What's it called?
Obviously I've seen Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, Evil Dead.
You see only Shaun of the Dead and you don't even know what it's referencing?
No. I said Evil Dead. That's way
Oh,
different.
I've not seen that, no.
Okay, yeah. So in this film, there's this like evil like presence in the woods, and there's like a bunch of kids. They go out into the woods. Let me see. And then, it follows just kind of like the traditional like horror kind of genre like style, which I love, and this is totally gonna be an homage to, where like any slasher film, any horror film you watch, what is it? It's like a bunch of cool shit happen, like lives of the characters, building it up, and then they encountered, something horrible. This
Mhm.
one does a bad job of showing it, but same thing in the beginning. Like every like I like that classic horror like
Yeah,
style.
like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They're
Yes.
people like on a trip. They, get out of the car and they ended up at this house. They give a
Yeah.
stranger a ride.
Yeah.
That, and then things start going just south.
Yeah. And then so basically something goes south with the girl. Um, what happens next though? Like let's say something goes south with the girl.
I don't even think the first thing should even include them. It's something they hear about. Like, oh, did you hear? Like, something happened to her today. She hurt herself. She like destroyed something. She uh or maybe it's something that didn't even happen at school. Like it's something that like why didn't she did you hear why she's not here today? Like there was some Facebook post about it or something from a family member or now what that is, I don't know. Like it could be I'm thinking something like because more it would be better if she was like hurting herself in the beginning or at least not doing
So that's what I'm
anything.
saying. So maybe she was possessed, but they're just saying she's suicidal.
See, now referencing back to The Exorcist, what I love about that so much is that it was gradual.
Yeah, that would be
It,
good too to include.
like just like
The thing is, it's not going to be about this girl. The movie's not about this girl and her
no,
mom.
but that's the
Yeah,
antagonist, right?
she's the antagonist, but we're not going to know like that much about her necessarily, you know? She's going to kind of be like, well, this is just what I'm thinking. What if we make her as someone in the class who's not part of the main group, she's just like that weird kid. Everyone kind of stays away from her. She has a one-on-one aide. So by default, if you know anything about these one-on-one aides, like they become very attached. They work together like throughout the whole day. And so she doesn't talk to anyone but her. And like when she's developed this hard relationship where because she's taken out of class 3, 4 times a day because of her like mental issues, she's like all the kids kind of like stay away from her. No one wants to be her friend. But she's this cute anime looking girl who loves horror film, and like is just a regular kid, but maybe she's just sick, like maybe she's like can't get, I don't know, she wants something out of school. She wants to have a normal life, she wants a boyfriend. And like we see like she's doing these like dark like things outside, at like home or whatever. And then eventually she starts to become possessed like slowly and slowly, like kind of like the kid in Hereditary, how gradually like after that horrible thing he did or experienced, he started like the devil kind of got into him and he started getting more possessed, slowly as like how you're saying with The Exorcist. Something similar could happen to her where slowly she's getting more possessed, doing more weird shit, in the classroom before she finally like um takes over the classroom or like takes over the school. I don't know what the scope of it is going to be like. Should it be takes over? I was envisioning taking over the classroom and somehow maybe the school is evacuated.
What's the motivation for that?
Well, she becomes possessed, and she just the demon that she's been like praying to like wants to kill everyone. She's not like a conscious, she's just a force of
So
evil.
then it must be like, because what's stopping whatever the phenomena is from spreading further than the classroom? It must be like an immediate, like something's going to happen right now, then kind of thing, versus like, because it seems too like contained. Why is it contained?
Well, it was maybe there was a some kind of event that forced everyone outside of the school. Like forced everyone to evacuate, and then they just happened to get like, I don't know, locked in or something, or
Or
uh,
maybe not even an evacuation, but for some reason, no one else is at the school. Maybe they're
yeah.
there on a weekend for an after school or an after school program or something like
Oh, you
that.
know what it could be, Danny? Um, there's something called extended school year. So there's something in the summer after school. You know what the movie could start? It could start on like the last day of school, where it's basically like just nobody gives a fuck, like the craziness. That's really the most interesting time to be, at a school because everything's just going crazy. Um, and it's basically about this class because these kids they have to come to school in the summer because they're special ed. They need to do like makeup classes, and it's called extended school year. So they basically get more help because their reading levels, math levels are so behind that they have to get more help in the summer.
Okay.
So maybe this, and maybe it's like on a part of campus where they just stay later in the day. You know what I mean? Because all summer schools occur from like 8 to 12 p.m., right? But let's say this is like a late start class, 10 to 4 or something like that, or 10 to 2, and then like everyone leaves by like 12 o'clock. And then something happens with the janitor. He calls the teacher and he's like, "Hey, my wife something. She just read my Instagram messages. Like, I gotta go. Can you cover? Can you close the gate for me? There's no one else on campus." Some kind
Mhm.
of thing like that, you know? Um,
What
and
about
and
what
that
about
leads to the classroom being
what
like
about it?
once the bell rings, like she just like fucking closes everything. You know what I mean? And like.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
could be like an indoor school. That's why I want it to be based on like the East LA thing, because a lot of schools they don't have that traditional like land like they used to have. Like most schools in LA are just in like buildings, like renovated like big buildings.
Mhm.
So it could be the kids are trapped in this room, like in the corner. Dude, I've been in work at my old school. It's a three-story building. I've been the only person in that place, other
Mhm.
than one person for hours at a time, because I would stay after everyone like already left.
Mhm.
So it's possible for there to be nobody and like someone not even hear them. Like the janitor is like this Latina lady who would always wear headphones and just be cleaning. And maybe when she happened to clean in that room or on that floor, she was like listening to music and like didn't know, or she didn't come in that day and she got excused and they're like, we'll just clean up tomorrow morning, no worries, that kind of thing, you know? It's actually plausible and it happens too.
Mhm. Now they're not going to be completely by themselves
The teacher,
because they're going to have a teacher there with them, right?
yeah, yeah. And then it could be about them trying to escape the trying to just escape um the school. Like they're on lockdown, you know? And trying to survive. And do we want to make her into a monster where she's like trying to kill all of them? Or do we want to make it more about like a slow possession and like the kids trying to rescue her?
Yeah, that seems more well.
Because The Exorcist is about,
Like
do we want to make it into
let's. I want to dig into why and how she gets possessed. Like because you're saying that like it's not we're not focusing on that person, but
We
we
are,
kind of
we could. She could be another like co-main character. Um, I think it would be
maybe
cool.
another member of the group.
Yeah. Well, she is part of the group, right? Like she's part of the classroom. There's like 6 or 7 kids in this small classroom.
Yeah,
And so like it could be maybe about a story of like resilience that like these kids stick together no matter what. And like they're I don't know, they have to find a cure for her or something. Do we want to make it like that, like an adventure movie, like where they're trying to like rescue her from this thing? Um, or do we want something external to happen to them? Do we even want it to be a possession? Like, should it be like a school invader, a school shooter? Um,
because they're kids, does it have to have a good ending?
I want it to. Doesn't mean we can't lose some kids, you know?
Because people don't even do that. Like
Let's
in
kill
movies where they're like,
let's kill some kids, bro. Let's kill the teacher. I think the teacher should die because this is about the kids after all, you know?
mhm,
Like,
mhm.
I think the teacher should live like half of the movie.
The teacher shouldn't be there for the whole thing, though. They
No.
should be by themselves. Like the
Yes.
teacher should be separated for them, and then maybe come back later and then die.
He could possibly come back later, or we could just literally kill him. Like, oh shit, that motherfucker died.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, you know? But what do you prefer? Because I think that's an important aspect of it too. Like, is this story, is it gonna be because we're locking down the tone of it. So is it I think it should be so we said like a conventional like high school comedy kind of realist film for the first third of the film, right?
Mhm.
um then it becomes like The Exorcist.
You know, like Parasite was bold enough to go even further. Like it was a regular film until the halfway mark, and then it takes a total turn, right?
Yeah,
In Parasite,
yeah,
like I think you're watching like a family like con man, conning movie, like where they're just like getting like they're just and then all of a sudden it just completely like you don't see anything coming.
yeah,
The only close things you get from that anything could be off is the kid's artwork and his problems and the ghost that he saw. But like for the first half of the movie, it's just a regular movie. You're like, and you're rooting for the family, and they're conning their way into like these like rich people's like lives, and then all of a sudden it turns into like,
yeah.
well,
You know what
is
else?
it a horror movie? Like a, you know what I mean? I love that so much, man. Like,
What
so I
that yeah, what that made me think of was okay, what if it becomes like one third of the way through, it's like a classic comedy film, right? Then the second and third of the film, it's basically like a classic horror film, classic slasher horror film, you know what I mean? Then the final third of it, it's just this
maybe
ridiculous. What happened?
I think like
Wait, what? I didn't even finish what I said.
like almost okay, go ahead. I'm just already I like you, I like where you're going.
Oh, and then the last third of it will become this ridiculous, over the top film that not even the main characters like know what the fuck is going on. Like it's just so out of the ordinary. Like people start dying, shit starts
Well,
exploding, like just absolute chaos. So like we did every film we wanted to do in one sweep of it, you know?
I
Like we
love
did
that.
this, huh?
I like that a lot. Like
Um,
the first act is like literally super bad.
yeah.
The second Exorcist or like
Yeah.
uh Hereditary, and then like
Yeah.
the third is like this is the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, and
Or Shaun of the Dead, Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, any of those crazy like over the top horror films, like that's what Evil Dead, like That's what it's gonna turn to at the end of it.
Mhm.
Second
Or
act,
we can even fourth wall at the end, like where like nothing is like,
yeah,
but each one is so compartmentalized in the sense that it's like this is what you're in right now. Right now, you're just watching like the first 30 minutes of Cloverfield, where you're getting to know the character. It's just a normal movie, but
yeah,
you're invested because it's so good in the story. And then it turns into like Hereditary, The Exorcist, where there's not that much comedy anymore for the next like 30 minutes of 45,
no,
if anything. And then it turns into like this crazy mixture of like comedy and horror, and you're not sure what to feel at any given moment.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, I was thinking like about like a what's his name? Uh
Wait, why do we want to do that? Why would that be a good idea
what do you mean?
to make it to shoot it that way? Like to make
Because it's a comparison. It's like the same thing. It's like you think you're watching one kind of movie, and then all of a sudden you're watching a totally different kind, but it works. That's what we want.
Hmm. Yeah, we want the audience to feel,
Yeah. Three levels down. We're like a dream within a dream within a dream. Like we're
yeah,
gonna
there
do
are
three
levels of
levels.
this shit. Yeah.
Um, but I'm
And
I'm
are
thinking
losing
that
their and maybe are losing their minds along with them.
and during the third act, if we can do it in a good way, I would like to do like an M. Night Shyamalan type twist, like where like you were telling me about like the girl assistant.
Yeah.
Maybe she's the one who's really behind, like that kind of thing. Like, no, seriously,
It's just
like
devolving into this absolute just fuck fest.
chaos, nothing. It's not even cohesive. No, but we can make it. We can make it
I think that
cohesive.
would be perfect. I think that would be perfect. Like we literally started off with this super funny, like,
Hmm.
like relatively like could be a like a soap opera on Netflix or like this new liberal progressive like type shit. And then like it immediately turns into all the horror elements, like the build up, the scares. Um, Not immediately, but kind of like leads to it, like it hints at it. And then that's where it kind of like progresses into insanity. This progression into insanity. And not in a psychologically like horrible way, but more like, but in a farce, like in a farce or like satirical way, right? Like it's not a psychological horror. It's like we're trying to poke fun at things, like poke fun of like horror films that take themselves so fucking seriously. Like okay, we could just make a
Have you ever seen one?
huh?
Have you ever seen One Punch Man, the
No,
anime?
I'm not, no. But I know about it. I've seen like parts of it. Huh?
It literally is like a parody of anime.
Hmm. Yeah.
Can
So
you hear
like
me?
a parody. I hear you now,
Yeah,
but you were going in and out.
yeah. It calls out the ridiculous. It calls out like anime and like all the things that happen in most animes, and it doesn't take itself seriously. It almost breaks the fourth wall. It knows. It almost knows that it's a show. Like the characters.
Yeah.
Like the guy is called One Punch Man for a reason. Like
Yeah.
he can
Well,
take.
the other thing I don't want the fourth wall to be broken. And this
Okay.
this is why. Because I want the characters to feel authentic. I want them to feel like they really think everything that is
Fourth
going.
wall, they know that they can't,
They know
or
they
that.
can't break the fourth wall because they're in a real movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're in a fucked up reality. It's like Rick and Morty, when they use that video game simulator life. It's like knowing that you're stuck in a simulation and
Roy,
you're just like,
it was called,
huh?
where like you live out like a whole life in
Yeah.
the
What was it called? Roy.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
that
I
kind of
remember that scene. Really good.
yeah.
Yeah, well, Rick takes over. He starts playing, and then like people start gathering around the monitor because he's like he's going off grid with Roy. He doesn't have a social security number for Roy. Like he's just going off. Yeah.
Um,
That's when you're aware that you're in a simulation.
yeah. So it has elements of everything essentially.
Mhm.
Um, it has
One time you
elements
saw
of, huh?
Black Swan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of distortion of reality, and like you don't know what's real and what's not. I
I don't
love
want to
movies.
do that. We could do that for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, just elements of that. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah.
Like the walls mesh together, or like things start melting in the background, or you know,
Cool.
what was it Stay
Mm.
with Ryan Gosling, um, Naomi Watts.
I haven't seen that one.
Forgot who directed it.
Hold on. I haven't seen that
Yeah, it's a psychological crazy movie. Like I don't even know how to characterize it because it has a lot of elements of horror and yeah.
So you think you say you have a good, do we have a good idea of what it's gonna look like, or do we need more?
Well, we knew, yeah, we're barely scratching the surface, G. But we're getting a better understanding of
I'm like,
like,
are we ready to make this movie?
it's
So when are we
it's
shooting?
it's printed.
Okay, well,
I have
where should
I
we
have a few
start to
questions.
get?
I
So
have a few questions that I feel like we need to answer
yeah,
to like build the start.
okay,
So
let's.
like, why would the kids be at the school by themselves, like with nobody else? I want a good, real, like a solid, like fleshed out reason. Like weather or like all the outdoor sports, like all the other like after school programs,
They
like
go on a
just
field trip.
that's good. So that's one question. Another one is like the goth horror girl. How and why her, is she possessed? Like that fleshed out. And then what's the danger and motivation for the kids or to hurt the kids? Like why are they involved? Like what's like what's the connection there? Like why are they in danger other than being in the school? Like uh which is a good start. And then what abilities are unique to the kids to allow them to survive or have a chance? You know what I mean? Um and then we can, as a group and individually. So those are a few questions that I
Yeah, yeah,
think would
yeah.
help. If we can answer those, that gives us a better.
Okay, what's the first one?
Why would the kids be at the school by themselves?
Right. Do we want them at the school?
That makes the most sense that the place that they would all be together, especially with this girl who is not part of their friend group.
Okay, let's do it at the school.
Okay. So we got the place, but like, why would
Yeah.
nobody?
So that's our scene.
Why wouldn't they be at the field trip?
Well, okay. Maybe.
Hold on, let me get my quiz. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
Robin. Well, okay, Danny.
Yeah.
I think we can say that we kind of have the film's tone locked down.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what we can start on if do you still have time right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to set a time limit? Should we stop at like 7, 6:45, 7?
We started at like 4:20, right? Or 4:15 or
Like
something?
4:30?
4:30? 2 hours is cool. I mean, yeah,
I mean, I don't have anything else to do right now, honestly.
battery of the tablet's gonna die pretty soon. It's already at 23%, and it was at like 80 when we started.
Okay, so we'll go until it's like at 5%, 10%.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now we have to write, now we have to create a 2 to 3 page treatment summarizing the full story.
Okay.
Okay, so that's our next task.
Okay.
Let me see here.
How do we split that up?
Okay, so well we can have the questions. Let's develop the questions we want to answer first. Okay.
Okay.
So let me hold on, I'm making the document right now. So we're writing 2 to 3 page treatment.
What are you eating?
Oh, so I have this. Have you ever had this like Mexican, like it's like a type of cheese. It's called jocoque.
Maybe.
Okay, well, anyways, it's very close. It's like a cross between cream cheese and Greek yogurt. It's super good, protein packed. Huh?
Like crema?
It's kind of like it's crema-ish, but it's thick. Watch, let me show you what it looks like.
I mean, I'm sure I've had it somewhere.
You might have. It's almost like a Lebanese inspired, like kind of like very thick.
What would I have it on? Like, what kind of dish would it be on?
It would be, you probably wouldn't have had it unless it was like because I don't think you're exposed to like Mexican shit like this. Like even I don't really eat this cheap. Usually we eat like crema or queso fresco or something.
Yeah, that's usually what I'm used to.
Yeah, this is more like a specialty Mexican thing, like where not every, it's more like regional places. But and it's like a health food now, so like if you're like Latino and like you're health conscious or like into like, then you'll find this.
Yeah.
Um, And I know because I bought it like at a health food store.
You're eating a whole plate of cheese?
No, no, no. I only had 50 grams of it along with these crackers. Watch. So I make like a little cracker. They're like these whole grain crackers.
Onions?
No, it's the cheese, some organic strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries in like a whole carrot, a cracker.
Yeah. All right. I don't, you like mixing like salt and sweet.
Bomb,
Damn,
bro.
I look like a ghost. I look like the life is being sucked out of me right now. Look at that. I'm so pale.
I don't know why is that,
Help, help.
bro.
That's the
Okay,
light.
so the
Yeah.
questions. What are the questions we need to answer? Let's see.
So why are they at school by themselves?
Who is our film about?
Well, we know it's supposed to be the perspective of this unlikely hero, quote unquote.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm just putting that there like to guide us as we write the story.
Okay. So
So,
you got the first question?
so the first question is who, right? Who, what, when, where, why, how. So who's the film about?
The film is about the protagonist and antagonist, and their path and their the crossing of paths.
Okay, a young boy dealing with a learning disability and physical disability,
It's like his counterpart.
learning to um what? Learning to find his voice,
What do you mean?
trying to fit in. Oh, I'm just describing this character because it's the who, right? So the main character, like we have to have a good idea of who. I don't want, or do we want to just write a summary first, a plot, or how do you want to go with this?
Flesh that out more as the story goes, you know.
Okay,
You build,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, who is the film about? Any other who questions?
Not right now, because we can build from that. You know, we know he has a best friend. We already
Okay.
know that.
Okay, well, let's go quickly over the other parts of it.
So we got what?
What possession? Well, let me just pose the questions first before we try to answer them. Okay, who is the film about? What is happening to them? Because we know it's about the kids. Group of kids, it's about a group of kids and a teacher.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, what is happening to them? Why? Why is it happening? What do they do about it? What is their motivation? What are the stakes? What's the climax? Huh?
Why are you laughing?
I don't know. I'm just saying. Do I need a reason? Happy. Happy to be alive. Happy to be divorcing. I'm just kidding. Been a tough couple days, man. Huh? She's out in USA right now, probably banging some black guy already.
Damn.
Getting some revenge sex.
Any like you don't have she's just gone? Like what happened?
She just left. She said well, she didn't even tell me she was leaving, but Leah told me.
When
Today, she left earlier today. Leah said that she was going to the US. I gave her a green card. That's what happens.
yeah, I guess.
That could be a joke in the movie with the teacher. The teacher, the teacher is loosely based on me,
Okay.
by the way. Um, by loosely, I mean exactly like me.
All
Um,
right. It's gonna be
it's
starring you.
gonna be me. I'm the teacher. I'm starring. I would love to star in it if I'm any good. You think I'd be good?
You won't be.
Ah, no. All right, fine. We'll let a fat Timothy Chalamet do it.
A fat Timothy Chalamet?
Yeah, I'm ready for that. Like if he really wants to be great, like he was saying, he's gonna get fat. Like at least for a few roles.
Yeah. Like Brendan Fraser?
Brendan Fraser, Leonardo DiCaprio, um, you know,
When did he get fat?
he got
Oh,
fat. This is Don't Look
no.
Up.
Which one?
Don't Look Up.
Or like the opposite, getting incredibly skinny, like Matthew McConaughey.
I got Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. Um, no, he's already super skinny.
Okay.
He either needs to get super buff or super fat to just play like new roles. But he can't. Like Matthew McConaughey, like you gotta go up and down. Jared Leto, you can't just
Yeah.
not transform your body at some point.
Okay.
Anyways, so what are the stakes? Okay, where let me just do let's do like a rough like treatment of the like just like a small paragraph of it. So and like in narrative form. Like
Like
just
back of the DVD box, like
uh-huh. So I'm gonna do one like out loud, okay? It's recording right now, so we'll come back to it if we have to. You have a group of kids. So this film is starring a group of kids. So the story is starring a group of kids who are Latino and have a variety of disabilities from like mild to moderate disabilities. And it follows their lives in growing up in the kind of like slums of LA, mostly Latino part of LA, in modern times, dealing with like modern issues that kids deal with, like social media, smartphones, that kind of thing, right? Um, we center in on three people. Our young man, I'm just gonna call him Marlon for now, who's a pubescent teen with a physical and learning disability who struggles to make friends at school, um, who's incredibly like smart and snarky, um, but and hates getting help from others. And it's basically like him living in his brother's shadow, and him trying to find like his place in the school and learning how to overcome his like literal impairments. Huh?
is his brother normal?
Yeah, his brother's normal for lack of a better word. Yeah. And he's like incredibly popular and successful in the at the school, but he's also cool too.
Okay.
Like he's politically correct, he's handsome, he's like perfect for lack of a better word term.
All American.
Just like but all Mexican, you know? So he's only
All
50% perfect. Like I want him to be like the ideal like progressive youth. Like he could be a future like progressive like congressman out of like Los Angeles that fights for the people, you know?
yeah, like a little young Bernie.
Uh-huh. Like a little young Latino Bernie. So I want, and so you deal with that, like, so you have that background of that kid, right? And then the other main story, will be from the teacher's perspective. And like, you need that teaching perspective to see like the insight of the life of these kids, like he's the guy that understands what these kids are going through, their plight, fights for them, but he's also going through shit in his own personal life. Maybe he's going through a separation or he's going through like a big like life event as well, just trying to figure it out. Um, and you like kind of follow him and he gives you the background perspective of the school, like what teachers are really like, what the administration's really like, how they talk about kids, what their lives are like outside of school, that kind of thing, you know? And even like just candid thoughts on students. And then you have the third perspective, which is the little girl, and maybe she comes from, maybe she's mysterious. I don't know. We can decide what where we want to like go with her little story.
How and why possession?
Yeah. So I'm thinking she's just a cute little girl who maybe has like separated parents. They kind of like her mom's like kind of burnt out from having to deal with everything. So she's like always drinking, always smoking, whatever. Um, Dad's not in the picture, and she has like this really debilitating like disability, but she's a very sweet girl. Like as she is in real life, the character she's based on, she's just such a sweet girl. She looks like an anime figure, like just a cute little doll. Um, but at the same time, she's like, she says some dark, like evil stuff.
Like the Asian girl from Kill Bill.
Yeah, kind of
That
looks like that. Looks like that, but like says just like some really creepy stuff, like I dream of
like
I dream of like the devil, like or some random shit, like like I hung a chicken by the tail once and it bled to death in front of the school. Like
Mhm.
during a warm up in class, she has this very dark, like yesterday I tried to kill myself. It was crazy. Something that everyone's just like, the fuck is she kidding right now? And like something like that. Like so she's dealing with like real quote unquote demons. Um, and she's learning how to manage it. Like she has depression. She's trying to kill herself because of this debilitating disease. Um, and like now, and so she finally like got sick of it and like sought like help from the devil because she was praying to God all the time and that didn't help. So she said, "Fucking, I'm gonna seek help from the devil to try to like get this, overcome this like disability."
Maybe she does because it's so easy when you're seeking like Christ or God. There's so
Oh,
many like
that's kind of
ways
like
to
what
go.
Nosferatu
Go to,
is about,
but because there isn't like some like you know general or obvious way to go into like praying to Satan, that maybe she like she goes for something. How would I even pray to Satan? And she finds a book in the library or something like that, or she
Mhm.
finds something on the dark
Mm.
or and that's her and
Yeah.
then she doesn't know what she's doing again, kind of like hereditary.
It could
Just
be
say these
like
words.
it could be based,
I don't.
maybe she has an uncle who's like one of these like Santeria guys. Do you know about that?
Hmm. I
That
mean,
would,
I
what's
can
that?
picture.
There's this type of it's not Santeria, it's Santa Muerte. So there's this thing called Santa Muerte. Cindy's uncle is one of these guys, and
Mhm.
they're like into this astrology, they're into this like weird
see
like
see
hollow,
that already. It's like we're already getting good imagery from this. Like
right? It's really good, right? So there's this like type of let me see, cult religion. It's not even that one, it's something.
it's the teacher could even dismiss it like, oh, that's just like some like uh you
Yeah.
know gang stuff. Like it's not real. Like it's just
Yes.
her
Yeah.
family. Maybe her family, somebody, her family in Mexico are like part of the cartels or something like that. Like,
Hmm.
and then the teacher is like playing it off like, oh, we don't need to worry about that because
Yeah.
this it's just like gang related. And then,
Yeah.
but behold, like secretly, like you know,
Yeah, and this is like some real life shit too, like people actually do this stuff. Like it's pretty crazy. Look at this.
imagery and the symbols and like.
It could be based on all this shit, like real life shit. Look at this.
Have you ever seen the Holy Mountain?
Look at this shit. Oh, you know what it should be? Like a play on religion too, dude. You know how they got all these Pentecost things? Like,
It
um,
should be abstract and like you can like almost attribute it to like uh multiple religions and multiple like things. It's so universal. Have you ever seen the Holy Mountain?
um, is it Janikowski too? Or
No,
Jodkowski?
no, Jodorowsky.
What? Jodorowsky?
I think
Jodorowsky.
so.
Jodorowsky.
That movie, there's hardly any dialogue. It's all visual and like it's just like it's like 2001, but for like um I don't know, like it's just a disturbing film. Like it doesn't make sense. There's scenes, high budget scenes with like hundreds of extras where you've never seen something like that visually.
You
It the
watch
scene
something
doesn't
like that?
even compute it. It's just it would I would actually well, I want to put that on the list. Just visuals, like visually, like things to extract. Um,
It would be
am I
hard
making
to
that?
do it, no?
No, no, no. Ideas. I'm saying like
Well, it would be hard to do that in a way. Do you want to show her having like what it looks like to have a possession? Maybe show the inside of the possession, like what's actually going on there?
the mind, maybe. Like
Because they
there's
don't
a
do
lot of
that a lot.
they do it great in Get Out.
Yeah.
When he's hypnotized and he falls, like that kind of thing. Like just something quick, nothing, the whole movie doesn't have to be full of that. But
No one that
you
does it really well too. There's this A24 film that just came out. It's called like um
mhm.
it's another it's another A24 horror film. Um
We're at 10%.
let me see. This one, Talk to Me. So in this one, Talk to Me, this film it does really, really good, a really, really good job of like showing what it looks like to be possessed, like on the other side. And this is what these kids like. This is kind of the tone even that I'm like looking at for the film. Watch.
You already saw this movie
Yeah, I've seen this already.
in theater?
Okay. Cannot go for more than 90 seconds. Am I clear?
What happens after 90 seconds?
Don't want to stay.
So they have this way of like talking to demons.
Hold on, put it back
What?
just a few seconds. That the way that guy appears behind is like kind of eerie.
Yeah.
Light the candle to open the door. Roll it out to close it. Put your hand on it. Now say, talk to me.
Talk to me.
So it's pretty interesting. I would recommend to watch this film as well. It has that feel as well of like what I'm going for, like in terms of the
Talk to me.
realism and the actual relationships, and these characters are really like relatable. But something terrifying happens to them as well. So continuing with the story structure, so you have that girl, you have these three characters, right? And then they end up getting stuck together at summer school. Um and on the way home, the girl they go on a field trip. Oh, I have a good
I was
idea.
gonna say,
I have a,
our
good,
characters could be at summer camp.
a summer camp would be too obvious.
That's a. I
Summer
know that's why I said. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it could be like
It's like
something similar, but for example, what if they went to like Joshua Tree, like a field trip to Joshua Tree?
they're the only ones that go on the field trip because they're special ed.
Or this, okay? So they go on the field trip to Joshua Tree, with like, the whole class, everything. They end up like the teacher gets like ahead of himself, wants to explore, more, and they went on their own separate bus. So he's like, we're gonna stay a little bit longer. We want to watch the stars. And the principal's like, all right, just make sure you guys get home by whatever. And so they stay a little longer, and then that's where it happens. Like
I
the
like that. Or even instead of even staying longer, just because of their class,
yeah,
they're taking on like a separate tour or
yeah,
something where they're just on their own because of their class.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you're not sorry, like you can't go with the Gen Pop because, yeah.
yeah.
And
What if
they're
they're
and
what if they're taken in by like,
it just changes the setting. We're no longer at school, obviously.
yeah, no, it starts at school though.
Okay.
That's the first third of the film, right? It's like about their lives in school,
Leading up to the field trip.
leading up to the field trip. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And then once we're at the field trip, then this is where like the exorcist, like scary shit starts happening.
We go to Joshua Tree though.
They went to because part of the field trips, like the summer school has every week they do a field trip, and this is like the final week of summer school, so they're going on this nature hike.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and so it's a good opportunity because these kids have never been to like a national park, you know? And so they're like kind of forced to go here. They really don't want to go. They're like, why can't we just like have a free day at school? Or like I'd rather be at school like doing work, versus and the teacher's trying to convince them of how
2
awesome.
hours out here. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then it could be like that now they're over there, something happens to their bus, they lose signal, they don't like, whatever, they're stuck there, right? Um, and that's where like the classic horror thing starts to happen, where
Mhm.
like something happens, maybe they're lost, kind of like the Blair Witch kind of thing, like you're lost in the wild, like it's terrifying, you're trying to survive at night. Something strange is happening. And then when it gets to that next third of the film, then it's like, something crazy starts to happen, like Jeepers Creepers, like animals flying, whatever. And then it eventually is like the twist, the plot twist. So basically, maybe it could be okay. So these kids go out, progressively, this girl's going a little bit more insane. So she's a likely candidate for like the possible, like, you know, murderer or something of the group. Maybe we
Mhm.
don't, maybe we I don't know if it's gonna be a slasher or if it's gonna be an exorcist film. I kind of like a slasher too, because if it's an exorcist film, I feel like it'd be better in the classroom, just like a single classroom. Oh, you know what's another plausible scenario?
Hmm.
That this teacher didn't get allowed to go on the field trip for whatever reason that the whole middle school, whatever, was going to in summer. So he got stuck with the kids that didn't have permission slips or they couldn't get like health clearance for, which includes like most of them are the special needs kids and like maybe a few like quote unquote normal kids, including like the brother of this kid. Maybe, huh?
Is it the brother or the best friend? Thought it was the best
The
friend.
best friend, and then maybe is the brother there too? Maybe the brother and like a cute girl or something. He's trying to like smash.
I don't know if there should be a brother.
You don't think there should be a brother? No, he should have a brother. He doesn't have to be there though.
Okay, yeah.
I'm okay with that. Okay, so it should just be kids and to teach and the
Yeah.
teacher. Okay, so we could go that route too. I like that route a little bit better. So they end up staying at the school. No one's there. They get locked inside, or what happens?
No, they're just there.
They're just there, and it's just like, so
They
why
can't see.
they can't seem to leave? Because it starts to get like things start to happen. Like, why are we locked in? What the fuck is?
Why is the door handle disappearing or like that kind of thing? Like, is am I just imagining? I'm just like, it's not that they can't leave, because maybe at the end, like people who come to help, maybe it's so easy to get in, maybe, but for some reason, like some disturbing reason, that they just can't seem to leave. You know,
Okay.
almost like the room kind of vibes, where like you're just stuck in a room and it's like, you know.
Is that where we wanted to go?
Well, I do like
Or
the idea
just
of
show
staying.
that aspect of.
Because I would want to do more of an exorcist than a slasher.
Okay, got it.
So I think we should stay in the classroom.
Okay, so we stay in the classroom, or in the school, because remember, this school is a self-contained building. So
Right, no one else.
maybe she's in control of like a certain like part of the building. Maybe she's in control of like the bottom floor, which is like the exit. Um, and like nobody can escape, they're not gonna jump out of the window. They
Maybe
can't.
there's just constant. They leave the room, or if they go too far outside the room, like things
Yeah.
are happening.
Maybe she's taking over like the intercom system and the lights and everything, so she's keeping them locked in, she's watching them. some kind of shit like that, you know?
Also, there's new schools now that are being built around like shootings and stuff like that. So like maybe they're encased in some kind of
Oh
safe
yeah.
room.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's
that would be
just
funny. That would be cool.
it prevents people from coming in, but it also prevents people from leaving.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
Okay.
there's those classrooms where like the walls, you just pull the walls and they fold into like a little safe room. Have you
Yeah,
seen
I've
those?
seen those. Yeah, I've seen those. They don't have them in our. They're not gonna have them at this school. This
No,
school's
those are newly designed schools built from the ground up. But maybe it's a new school.
You
And
know
you're
what it
saying
could
that
be too, Danny? It could be
smartphone
this like it could be like a commentary. We can take it further, but then like with that, maybe these kids are getting a new school paid for by like this quote unquote like progressive like white um like company, and it's really like this diabolical like fucking like chamber or something where they're running like tests. They're using these kids as like these
that's strange because remember the girl was like
well,
an
that's where the
experiment for
twist
something.
starts coming in.
Okay.
Maybe not.
I was gonna say we're like kind of
I
like
don't
digging like we're
I
starting
don't
to
want it to
mention it.
be due. Yeah, that's too obvious. We're just
I
have
like what we've built so far with this.
okay.
Like what I'm seeing on the paper, the unlikely hero, the goth girl who's into horror. I like that. I like having a teacher there, having the best friend who is the normal best friend who's bonding, who has a because I can relate to that too, like I used to like I befriended in elementary school, like not that I would hang out with him. It was merely just like acknowledging him, having a brief conversation during recess. But like one of the special ed kids, I remember like going up to talk to him, just to acknowledge him with like one or two other people because nobody else did.
Yeah.
And that was a real thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
And so like that does it's very plausible that like
And you know what I want to make the kids like, Danny? Like I want to make the kids hard, like kind of tough, edgy kids, but I want they're good kids. Like all the kids, like they have good hearts. Like they're accepting of trans people. They don't like ridicule kids with disabilities. Like they don't drop N-bombs. Like
and a movie that shows that so well and so it's quick, but I don't see it done in movies where in what's that movie called 21 Jump Street, the
Mhm.
first one.
Oh yeah.
They're cops, they go
That
back to
one,
high
yeah.
school
The kids like that.
when
Like
they're
it's not cool anymore to do
when,
that, bro.
when they're pulling up because they're from a different generation. They pull up to the parking lot, they're like just punch like the weakest kid. And who are those guys? Like they're hipsters and like all these like new people
Yeah.
didn't exist back. And then he punches the guy. You punch me because I'm gay. He's like, whoa, whoa, and it's like totally it throws them off because it's not
Yeah.
what they expect these kids to be so cool and progressive, right?
Yeah,
Like
like
cool, like the theater kids or whatever. Like those are the cool kids, like or whatever. Like now, so
yeah,
it's like you see like that
that's
different, like
honestly
the
something that
cultural
makes
difference
the
in the
that makes the
time.
film so
I
good.
love that.
Yeah. That actually makes that film so good because it does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, and that's why it stood out to me. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, you know,
Because 21 Jump
yeah,
Street's kind
yeah,
of
yeah. Yeah.
like ridiculous.
And with later on in the movie, we find that those kids are still tough. Like even though that like the cool kids like incorporate like they have like gay friends and like this, they're progressive, but they're still the cool kids. Like they still fight at the party. They still like stand up for themselves. They're
Yeah.
still like just cool. You know what I mean?
And
And
hold on,
it
Mickey.
just it's like it just nonchalant casually shows like the difference in culture and stuff and
Hold on.
accepting. Yeah. Yeah, I'm about to get off right now. My shit's about to die. So
All right, my G. Okay, we're at a good place. How should we work Yes. Let's identify the questions first. What are the questions? The questions we want to answer in this film. Where should we go from there? Should we just write? Let's write our own
I mean,
treatment. You write your own treatment. I write my own treatment. 2-page.
All right.
Basically a narrative. Okay. You could write it with like the help of ChatGPT. Or you can just freehand it.
I'm not gonna.
What I'm saying, like,
But-
huh?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna make it like one or like you said 1 or 2 pages.
Yeah, make it 1 or 2 pages. We're gonna put our story in. Let's have it by next week. Okay, that'll be, and then we'll just go with like, and then we'll go from there based on what we talked about. Okay, so based on everything we talked about, I'm putting this on. We talked about. Let's each write our own interpretation of a story based on this. Okay, by next week. Okay, for sure. So we'll do that. That'll be our homework, and then we could reconvene next week, and like in the time we can watch, like read our stories, and then yeah, and then share that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have something here though. It's like I can see it already.
Oh yeah,
I
I
see
see
something.
it too. But then I want the character. It's important to get the plot, and I definitely acknowledge that. But I'm also like, it's okay if it's not the greatest like plot necessarily, because what matters is like our characters, and then
Oh no, it's okay if it's simple.
it's okay
It's
if
not. It needs to be, but it's okay if it's simple.
yeah, it doesn't need to be crazy. Like it could just be, this is what happens. It's how you get there, realistically, right? Like it's who's involved and how you get there. That really is the big thing. I think that's gonna make our film like stand apart.
Like Superbad, such a simple plot.
Yes.
High school going to a party, they're trying to get alcohol and get to the party. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the basic plot of the movie.
Yeah.
Everything else that makes it gold is all the details
Yeah.
that surround that plot.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this is fun. So we'll do that. Meeting on 3/15. Okay, I just updated the notes. Add any notes that you took on that little like, I put it right here. Add any notes you took right here. So this is like our little meeting. So I'm using this doc for all our development tasks. So the app for each deadline, it's linked, each deadline is linked to the stuff for that particular part of the film, and we can just add stuff there, right?
There's a hyperlink for March 10th.
Huh?
There's a hyperlink on March 10th.
Yeah, and there's a hyperlink on March 15th. This means this is the stuff we are planning for that week. So the week of the 15th, our week starts today, basically, and we have like a 7-day work week from here. So for this next 7-day work week, because I don't think we can fully flesh this part out until we have like a general, like more structured story, but we have enough to go off and do a little treatment of the story. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So we'll go, and I think the next step would be to further like understand where we want the story to go, and then we can keep moving from there. Because after then we start creating the character bios, and I feel like that's where things are gonna really like shine out a little bit more. And then you see, I don't have the final outline to be even done until the end of the month. So, or the first week of April. So basically we have the rest, like, what is it, 2 weeks or so to do this. We can, obviously the deadlines are a little flexible, but we should go kind of in sequence. And if we think something here needs to change, or it's not working for us, we can always fucking adjust it or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's still a lot to go. Like, I still don't envision it completely, but I'm starting, like, I know,
Barely. What do you
yeah,
mean there's still a lot to go?
there's
We have
still,
to go.
yeah, we have to go. Everything.
Yeah.
All right, I'm excited for it, man. All right, we'll check in. We'll check in later. I'll probably work on it a little
Sure.
bit later today. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, like kind of purge myself a little bit. I'm gonna set some more time for it tomorrow.
Sure.
What should I do with these recordings? Should I make our own like YouTube account and it'll be just private?
Yeah, for now. Just so they're somewhere,
Okay, I'll do that. I'll
Yeah.
make like a private like YouTube channel or like a private video on my YouTube channel or something, and we'll just keep it there so like we can like monitor them,
Yeah. Sounds
access
good.
anytime. Because that's the cheapest, freest thing, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. All right then, brother. Hit me up.
All right, man. Hey, okay, so give me
I'll do the
uh
movie.
a priority list, yeah, from X, The Craft, and Talk to Me.
X
And Vampires, the
this and
Bronx,
Scream.
and Scream.
Oh, let's do that. Okay. Do you have a horror film you want to recommend?
I mean, it's not a horror movie per se. It really is, but the Holy Mountain. That's the one
Okay,
I want.
I like that one. So we'll watch Scream, The Holy Mountain, and um Talk to Me. Okay?
Scream, The Holy Mountain, number 2, and then Talk to Me, number 3.
Yeah. Okay,
Um,
let me talk to Becky then. They're all
when
talking.
what's up?
They're all talking shit right now.
What?
They put themselves on mute because they were talking shit. I'm on the phone with Becky.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yeah, so that'll be we have those two assignments. So we have write our own interpretation of the story. It could be a page or so. But it should be like what the story is like from beginning to end, like the back of the film. And then we're gonna watch those three films, Scream, The Holy Mountain, and Talk to Me, and do notes on them.
Sounds
And
good.
that'll be a cool like thing to constantly do because we need to constantly like surround ourselves
It's really good. Like we did The Goonies, The Exorcist, and Super 8. I think Scream, The Holy Mountain, and Talk to Me is good. Second round.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Because that's gonna keep us like in that like mindset.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, dope.
Okay, sounds good, brother. All right, I'll hit you up. All right, peace out.
Yeah. We out. Podcast is done.
Peace.